Hi and welcome to Market Conversations. In this video, I just want to talk about losses, my losses so far this year. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about losses, especially YouTubers or people on their Twitter account. And if they have a Discord or Patreon, they're definitely not going to talk about losses because one, it is depressing, and two, it drives people away. So you'll always see people on Twitter or YouTube posting their gains after gains. But the reality is, if you're investing or trading, you will incur losses. And depending on what you're trading or what you're investing will depend on how much losses you incur. So if you invested in Chinese stocks this year, especially Alibaba, Luquan, Neo, they have not been doing well, especially Alibaba. Alibaba reported their earnings last week and it went down 20 points. And also SPACs. SPACs were once a hot thing to trade, but now they've just been taking a beating day after day, making 52-week lows. We have Body, we have Clover Health, PaySafe, the list goes on. On the other hand, if you're invested or trading growth stocks like Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, you've been doing pretty well. So I incurred a huge loss back on June 2nd. And ever since then, I just haven't been successful at all. Last year was a very successful year for me, but this year it's just been on a downtrend, one after another. So on June 2nd, AMC had a gamma squeeze, and I had sold over 100 naked calls. With naked calls, there is unlimited risk to it. And unfortunately, I did not expect to lose or have my portfolio liquidated. I've never experienced a gamma squeeze, so I never really knew what would happen. So I've experienced it firsthand. I had sold 100 naked calls, and that was because my brokerage, which is TD Ameritrade, they didn't require the full collateral. So I was only using a little buying power for every naked call that I sold. But on June 2nd, they raised their margin requirements to 200% because the stock was very volatile. If we take a look at AMC, on June 2nd, the stock went up over 100%. People were just buying call options left and right. So what happened when people are buying call options? Well, it drives the price up. So of course, I'm losing money while the call options are making money. Even though my options expires further out and I had higher strike price. I had strike prices of 40, 70, 120, further out expiration dates. But even with far out expiration dates, even with high strike prices, it doesn't matter because that moment, right, we just didn't know how high AMC would have gone. So TD Ameritrade took action. They closed my account because they don't want to incur more losses. If that had happened, if I went to negative, then now I have to owe TD Ameritrade, and they would never allow something like that to happen. So they will close out your positions early before anything will happen to them. So because of that, my portfolio was liquidated. If we take a look at my P&L just for AMC is negative $640,000. Honestly, I still cannot get over the fact that I lost everything in one day. I just never thought this could possibly happen. But now I realize that it is possible, especially when we're over leveraging. And it doesn't matter if we're over leveraging on naked calls, which is the most riskiest because a stock can go as high as it wants. Whereas when we're selling puts, the stock can only go to zero. Be very careful when you're selling options because TD Ameritrade or even with other brokerages, they won't show you the correct amount of buying power. They will require more buying power if a stock goes down in price or goes up in price. If you're selling calls, for naked calls, you need level 5 options. So it is very difficult to get, and I wish that I never qualified for it. I learned the hard way, and this is what I get for over leveraging on naked calls, especially AMC. And ever since then, we can see that the stock has just been trading range bound from 35 to 45. So it's been in this range since September 20th. So if I had more time, more money, I would have recovered everything, because those options would practically be worthless by now, especially the 120 strike calls. It never reached 120. But of course, we would have never known on June 2nd when the stock was rising and rising. After this happened, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even think straight. Even to this day, I can't think straight, just because I have more losses with my other positions.
So if you have incurred huge losses this year, just know that you're not alone. And if you have high convictions on some of these companies like Baba, just keep holding. But try not to add more to a falling knife, because it's not going to work. We just don't know how much more Baba can fall. Right now, it is at a very critical support around 140. The next support that I see is 130, which isn't too far from the current price. So if you have no one to talk to or vent to, you can come check out my Discord. We have a very small community in there, and we're always trying to help each other out. So come check out my Discord. And for me, right now, I'm not planning to invest in any SPACs long term. Like, I'll day trade or swing trade SPACs, but for long term holding, I am staying away from it, because as we can see from the past, they have not been doing well. We have Body, we have PaySafe, we have Roots. Only a few SPACs have been successful, like DraftKings, but DraftKings has been slowly downtrending. We can see it went to a high of $74, and right now it's just been a falling knife. How many red days has it been already? It's on the RSI, it's indicating oversold, but at this point it doesn't even matter, because there's nothing to bring it up. And even with DraftKings, it is at a strong support. Just be very cautious on what you're trading. So I've been staying away from naked calls, because naked calls, there is unlimited risk. Unless you're only selling one or two, that's fine. But if you're over leveraging, just be careful when you're over leveraging. I learned the hard way not to over leverage. And it's easy to over leverage. You can over leverage on call options. You can over leverage by buying common shares. It's with anything. Just over leveraging in general is risky. So that's pretty much all I have to say. That it's been a tough year, and hopefully we can all get through it together.
If you want to talk about your trades, your losses, or if you want to vent, come check out the Discord. It is a very small community, and we're always trying to help each other out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what has been your worst trade or investment this year, and hope to see you in the Discord.